Hi everyone, and welcome to Flicks Talk. This is the movie remakes, the good ones. This is Remakes Part 2. So, I don't know if my definition of remakes is different than Hollywood's, but this is my definition, okay? This is what I think. You take a script, right? Like this one, let's use Halloween. This is just a copy of the 78's script. John Carpenter, Deborah Hill. So you take this and you just redo it. You can update it, make slight changes, but don't completely change the story but give it the same title. To me, that's totally different. For an example, like last year's Ghostbusters, the all-girl Ghostbusters with Melissa McCarthy. I thought the movie was good. I enjoyed it. You take the 84 one and last year's, two different stories, two different movies, same title. It's not a remake, it's just they just redid it, but they just used a different cast and a different story, so it's really not a remake. I just think Hollywood has, a different definition of remakes than me. Anyway, how about the good remakes? The ones that I like, the ones that I think that are as good, equally as good as the original, or better, or just maybe just under the original. I am not talking about Godfather Part 2. I have never seen any of the Godfathers. Don't kill me, men. I know. I will see them. But right now, I just haven't seen them. But anyway. So, how about, let's get started. How about the John Carpenter's 1976 versus the 2005 Assault on Precinct 13. I liked the remake. I thought it was good. The only difference between the original and the remake is that in the original, it was a gang that was going after the closing precinct. In the remake, it was like corrupt cops. But it was good. I mean, it was about the same story, just a group of people going after a closing precinct, so. Other than that, it's an action film. It's entertaining. So I liked it. Here we go. I like this one. How about the 1962 versus the 1991 Cape Fear? Cape Fear. Wow. I've seen both of them. The 62 one is outstanding. Robert Mitchum, Gregory Peck. They both made cameos in the 91. I think Martin Scorsese directed that one. So, yeah, the 62 one, outstanding. I love it. But the 91 one also has De Niro in it as the bad guy that Robert Mitchum played. Got Nick Nolte and Jessica Lange and Julia Lewis. And that it's just, I mean, the 91, it's kind of freaky. I mean, De Niro, he just made that movie freaky. And there's this line that he says in the movie that kind of, like, come out, wherever you are. Just the way he says it, it's funny. And freaky. 1978 and then 2004 Dawn of the Dead. Here's the reason why I like the remake more than the original. And it's because of the makeup. I know Tom Savini did the makeup in the 70s. In the 78 one. But the blood was too red. It was like as red as his shirt. Blood is not that red. Blood's darker. The remake was more action. Yeah, there was kind of graphic as well, but to me, I consider it more an action film than a horror film. But And then the makeup, they made the zombies like purple bluish looking. It's not like what they look like on like The Walking Dead or any of the other Romero films as of late, the ones that they made later after that one. Now I know that Dawn of the Dead is a cult classic. I'm not dissing it. It's just I prefer the remake. Sorry. I prefer the remake. 1981 versus the 2014 Endless Love. The remake to me edges out the original a bit. Maybe because, it's 80s versus, kind of a few years ago. You have Brooke Shields and today's people. So, I just, I thought the remake was just as entertaining, just as good as the original. So, same story, just about, so it's good. Endless Love. Endless Love. It just doesn't have, the Lionel Richie and the Diana Ross song in it. That's the only one that kind of gives the original a plus, but still. 1981 versus the 2013 Evil Dead. I think of the Sam Raimi Evil Dead, and I almost laugh, because the part where the girl is sitting on the floor, Indian style, and she's just giggling away. And doing that, and I laugh. It's funny. It's not. Why is she doing that? So, you take the remake, and at least both of them have that weird kind of zombie coming out of the door in the floor that's chained up. At least they both have that one. But the original one, though, the Sam Raimi one, that one was that was like my favorite zombie in that one, because it was kind of gross looking and ugh. So, but of course the remake is good too. I've only seen it once, so what I remember of it is it's good, and at least compared to the original, I prefer the remake, just by a little bit. Of course, that one I know, Evil Dead, it's a cult favorite. I know. Don't kill me. I know. I prefer the... Anyway, here we go. How about this one? I know some of you at least will agree with me on this one. At least on part of it. The 1958 versus the 1986 The Fly. Here we go. The remake on this one. The remake one outdoes the original by the makeup. Okay? It's not just the guy who switched a head and arm with the fly. In the Jeff Goldblum one, it looked like he is mutated. I mean, the makeup was like, oh my gosh. Ew. And then the black and white one, the 50s one, with Vincent Price. Can't beat Vincent. I love the original. But when it comes to the makeup part, it's the 86 one. But one of my favorite parts in the original is the ending, where you actually do find the fly with the white head and the white arm, and it is the doctor. Help me! Help me! Help me! And Vincent Price kills the fly. Murder! Vincent Price is a murderer. He killed the fly with the white head and the white arm. Help me! Help me! Oh, gee whiz. That was, yeah, but yeah. The 86 one, the makeup was wow. And it did look like a mutation versus the 50s. Just saying. But both of them, I like them both equally good. 1986, 1984, 2011, Footloose. I own them both. I prefer the Kevin Bacon one, of course, the 84 one, but here's the difference. In the remake, they kind of have a little bit of a prequel versus the 84. So 2011, they actually show what happens and why dancing is outlawed in their town. It's showing that, the preacher's kid, the preacher's son, being killed, crossing the bridge. So they show it versus the 84 one where it's just told by Ariel, Lori Singer's character. So, and then of course in the remake they have professional dancers playing the main characters versus Kevin Bacon and Lori Singer. You got professional dancers. So, but anyway, the same story. You can watch one and watch the other one and not really see too many differences. So that's actually almost a true remake, except for the little prequel in the beginning, which I enjoyed. So I highly recommend the remake of Footloose because it is watchable. They even have some of the same music from the original in the remake. Footloose, you have like the granddaddy, the father, the It Man, Kenny Loggins for soundtracks. You have his song Footloose, sung by Blake Shelton in the 2011 version. So hey, it's they just put a little country twang, a little spin on the movie a little bit, and of course they had to have the VW bug. They had the VW bug in the remake. Of course, in the remake he had to kind of rebuild it and restore one, but they still had the bug. Maybe Kevin Bacon drove one in the original, and they had to have one. At least they kept something same. I mean, I thought Footloose was good. Remake and the original. I prefer the original over that one, but that remake is good. Freaky Friday, 1976, 2003. Great casting. Jamie Lee Curtis. I love seeing her as a teenager, or acting like a teenager. And Lindsay Lohan, that may be her best film ever. Acting like a mom. There's the only main difference that I see versus the Jodie Foster one and the Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis one is that the 70s one, there's mom, dad, brother, married parents. Remake, single mother dating Mark Harmon. I'll date Mark Harmon. He's still a hottie, cutie. So other than that, it's some maybe the storyline. I don't know if Jodie Foster actually was in a band. Some of that may be a little bit different, but them switching places and it's just seeing Jamie Lee Curtis acting like a teenager is just great. I enjoy the remake. I own them both. I own the Jodie Foster one. I own the remake, so they're both good. 1977 and the 2006 The Hills Have Eyes. I own the remake and the sequel to the remake. Now I've seen the original, the Wes Craven, and then the sequel, the original sequel, which, anyway. I prefer the remake to the original. Kind of edging out a little bit, just the remake a little bit over the original, but the sequel, The Hills Have Eyes 2, the original. Yeah, that one I didn't enjoy that one too much. That one's pretty bad. But we're not talking about sequels. That's another show in itself. But that remake part 2 is different from the original, and the remake part 2 is totally different. It's not a remake of part 2, so it's just another Hills Have Eyes 2. But the remakes are similar and supposedly based on true events, true stories, like a lot of horror films are based on true stories. 1978 versus 2010. I Spit on Your Grave. Here we go. This movie, warning, kids around, you may want to cover their eyes, ears, whatever. Warning, disclaimer, to the kids. Send them out of the room. This movie is about a woman being pretty much gang raped The original is, it's just more realistic than the remake, but the remake is equally as good. It, that's about the only complaint I have is that just the realisticness, I guess, of the remake isn't as realistic as the original. But because in the remake it looks like she went off and kind of did a little shopping for the products that she needed to seek revenge of the guys that raped her. Versus the original, where it really did look like she just did use what was available to her right then and there to seek revenge, which made it just more realistic and kind of don't mess with that girl. I mean, to me, that movie needs to be shown in prisons to the guys that have raped women and say, you're lucky that this woman didn't do that to you. But maybe not, I don't know, they may enjoy that too much there in prison. But, yeah, it's, I think the cover on, the original pretty much states, not word for word here, but pretty much, no jury would ever convict her because of because she was the jury judge and executioner to those guys, so. Yeah, if any guy rates me, got some ideas. Yeah, baby. Bring it. No, I'm just kidding. Here you go. Here's one movie. I guess I should have said this first off. There are few remakes that I have not seen the originals to, and this is one of them. But this movie is really good, and it makes me want to see the original. And this is the 2003 The Italian Job. I haven't seen the 69 one with Michael Caine, but I do want to see it. So I guess I can go to the library and get some of these that I have not seen. But I just know that The Italian Job that came out in 2003, Mark Wahlberg, Charlize Theron, Jason Statham, Donald Sutherland, Edward Norton, has a great cast. And other people are in it, and it's just Mini Coopers, so I don't know if the original uses Mini Coopers or not, so I can only talk about the remake on that one. I just know that one is really good, so I want to see the original. Next. 1972 versus the 2009 The Last House on the Left. Well, the 72 one was realistic and not at the same time. I can't speak for 1972, that was before my time, but there's something that I don't believe would happen. Definitely won't happen today, but I don't know if it would happen then. It could have in the 70s. But I know it won't happen today. I wouldn't do it. But it's, nose itches, sorry. Back in 72, if you were alive and aware of things, could you just please say yay or nay on this? If this would even happen back then? Because I don't know. I can't speak for I wasn't around, as I said. But if a group of men came to your house posing as salesmen, would you invite them into your house, have dinner, and offer them a place to stay the night in 1972? Because I know for sure it won't happen today. And if it does, then you deserve to be killed by them, because you probably would be. Would that happen in 1972? Well, it happened in that movie. Two girls, here's the realistic part. Two girls, they're best friends, they're in the woods, and they're just enjoying themselves. They come across a group of men and women, and those men, they terrorize, torment, rape, and kill the girls. Well, the last house on the left is a parent's, is a house of one of those girls, and, the parents, after those group of people come into their house and stay the night, they kind of put things together, like, they found their daughter dead, they put things together, like, those are the people that killed our daughter, so they seek revenge. So, the revenge part, more realistic in the original versus the remake, because remake, the ending is funny, and it's entertaining, and it's cool, but it can't happen, it's impossible, unless they, updated the microwaves where they can operate without the door being closed. So the parents in the remake shove the bad guy's, one of the bad guys' head into a microwave and turn it on and the head explodes. It can't happen, 'cause as far as I know, the door has to be closed in the microwave. But it was cool looking, it's, it's like, wow, just type attitude in the movie, but when you think about it realistically, it can't happen. But other than that, the movie's watchable, it's entertaining, it's similar like the original, so not too many complaints. 1958 versus the 1985, A Long Hot Summer. Now the 85 one is a TV movie, so it was like 4 hours long with all the commercials. I saw that one first, and then I saw the 58 one. Now the 58 one. 1958, in that time period, with Paul Newman, yeah, he was so dreamy then. And I think he met his wife while filming The Long Hot Summer, Joanne Woodward. She was one lucky woman, because he was so hot. Anyway, back then. So that was the 58 one. Now the 85 one had Don Johnson and Jason Robards, Sybil Shepherd, Judith Ivey in it. And so I've seen that one a few times. I've only seen the 58 one once. But very good film. Both of them are very good. I'm just going to say they're equal. It's, because, like, the 30 years have passed almost since between them. So I don't really mind remakes from the 50s and 80s, 90s being made from, 30s, 40s, 50s years apart. Just try to keep the story similar, the same, something. Don't completely change it. But Long Hot Summer, I enjoyed them both. I almost kind of like the Don Johnson one better. But, you take Paul Newman looking at him back in the 50s and hubba hubba. Anyway, because I almost literally had drool running down my face watching The Long Hot Summer with Paul Newman. Yeah, I gotta see some more movies around that time period with him. Just make sure I have like a towel around me. Don't think tissues or napkins would work. I need a towel. Anyway. 1981 versus 2009, My Bloody Valentine. Now the 09 one was in 3D, and if you ask me, the 09 one is one of the best 3D movies I've seen lately. In the past, 8 years now. I own the 81 My Bloody Valentine. I watch it every Valentine's Day. So I've seen it multiple times. But the 3D one, it's just, that pickaxe was coming straight towards me, and I dodged it. I literally dodged it in my seat watching it. That is 3D. Some of the 3D movies that are out right now, they're not 3D, at least to me. And 3D movies, that's totally a different show, so that's pretty much all I want to say about that, so that now you know where I stand. But yeah, the stories are the same, and it's like watching one is like watching the other, so just one's in 3D and one's not. And one's has, Jensen Ackles in it from Supernatural. How about this one? Now, some sequels have a different title versus the original. Like, here's another one. I have seen the remake, but not the original. And there's only 3 years apart between the two. Plus, this one, I think one is kind of like foreign, and the other one is like kind of American. Anyway, 1990 versus 93. 1990 is La Femme Nikita, and 93 is Point of No Return. I haven't seen every movie that Brenda Fonda has been in. Bridget Fonda. I did rehearse, I swear. Anyway, Bridget Fonda, that's one of her best films, okay? And it doesn't just have her in it, it also has a great cast. That's Anne Bancroft and Harvey Keitel and Gabriel Byrne and Dermot Mulroney. And he's good looking too. Dermot Mulroney. Anyway, it's just, I can't really speak about, La Femme Nikita because I haven't seen it, but I just really enjoyed Point of No Return. I thought it was really good. That's all I want to say. And I have never heard of Nina Simone until I saw that movie. At first I thought it was just someone they kind of made up for the movie, but no, Nina Simone was a real person and a real singer, and cool. So, There's another movie I have to see. That's La Femme Nikita. Alright, here's another Alfred Hitchcock film that was remade, and it was actually a decent remake. You have the 1954 versus 1998 Rear Window. Rear Window, you take the original, the 54 one, and it has James Stewart and Grace Kelly, and I believe Raymond Burr in it. And then the 98 one has Daryl Hannah and Christopher Reeve. And of course, that is after Christopher Reeve had his accident and he was actually wheelchair bound in real life. So that kind of put some realism in the movie. And this was made for television, so I've only seen it once. And all I know is I thought it was good. It was acceptable to me. Just, I don't know why Psycho had to be remade. That was just one movie. Just leave Hitchcock alone. I mean, they already touched the one that they should have never touched anyway. So right now, just go ahead. Make all you want now of his. Anyway. This one, there's so many of these movies. It's not even funny. From 1912 to 2010, there's a whole list of all these remakes that they did. And there's a remake again next year for 2018. I've seen 3. I have seen the 1938, the 1991, and the 1993. Robin Hood. 38, The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn. I think he's my favorite. And I did have a book with his picture in it. What did I do with it? I lost it. I didn't lose it. Give me a minute. Minute over. Second. Here we go. Look. This guy, to me, he was a hottie. Look at Errol Flynn. See, look. Errol Flynn. He's Robin Hood. And Captain Blood. And the Seahawk. It's the only ones I really seen with him in it. But anyway, the 91 is with Kevin Costner, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. 93 is Robin Hood, Men in Tights with Carrie Elways. It's a Mel Brooks movie, so that's a comedic one. But 2010 was with Russell Crowe. I didn't see that one. I don't know who, they have, like, to me, nobodies in next year's, 2018, so, and they have all the other ones in between, other ones that I hadn't seen, of Robin Hood. So, but those, to me, are the top 3 Robin Hoods, if you ask me, just by looking at the list. The 38, the 91, and 93. Had to put a funny one in there. It's only the 3 I've seen. But anyway, I own Prince of Thieves. Of the 3, I've owned Prince of Thieves. I own the Kevin Costner one. Anyway. Next. 2 more to go. Here's one. I have not seen the original, but I have seen the remake. So, and the remake is good. 1954, 1995, Sabrina. I've seen the 95 Sabrina. Harrison Ford, Greg Kinnear, Julie Armand. Good movie. So I gotta see the original. Library. I gotta go to the library. Don't know if I can get La Femme Nikita from the library, but I know I can get the other ones. And the last one. 1951 versus 1982. The Thing. 1951, The Thing from Another World, I think. It's just a man in a suit. That's pretty much what it is. A man in a suit. I've seen it a few times. I mean, it's good, but for 51, but you take the 1982 one, the John Carpenter one, and The Thing is like mutation, and it's like, whoa, the special effects are great. Ding. So, I prefer the John Carpenter 1982 Thing. And the other thing that came out a few years ago is not a remake. It's a prequel. You watch that one before you watch the 1982 one with Kurt Russell. But I will say this, I would love to see The Thing, the 82 The Thing, in the theater. Because when they're doing the blood test in the little containers, you know, they heat that wire and they test the blood. Well, when that thing jumps out, I know I would jump. I will go ahead and admit it. That part, I will jump in the theater. I just got to see it in the big screen. I would just love to see it. And also, I gotta rewatch the ending because the ending has been explained. And there's, like, Kurt Russell, MacReady, is pretty much the only living person. Even though you see Childs at the end, he is not human. He is the Thing. So they could come out with a sequel. A little article I read. There's a few things you need to look for. It's cold in Antarctica, right? You talk, you can see your breath, right? Well, you see MacReady, you see Kurt Russell's breath when he talks. But when Childs comes back, you don't see him. When he talks, you don't see breath coming from his mouth. That's one thing to look for. Another one to look for is MacReady hands Childs a bottle of liquor, which isn't liquor, it's gasoline. Childs chugs it, baby. He takes a sip. Nothing happens. No coughing, no whatever. He just, yeah. Any human would do that, would somehow react violently, don't you think? There's other things to look for at the end. Those are the only two that I really do remember. Something about his clothes are different versus before, and so some little dialogue doesn't add up. So I gotta rewatch it just to see. At first I thought maybe, you know, the ending just kind of left it up to the viewer, but there really was an ending. You just kind of had to pay attention. Well, those are the remakes that I thought were good, were great, were acceptable, which were equally as good as the original. Some I do prefer the remakes versus the original, and some are just the original a little bit over. Just edge out the remakes, whatever. So let me know what you think. And guess what's next? The next video, the next one, the next episode is going to be about classic horror. Anything before 1960, I will be talking about. So black and white, anything, well, most of them are black and white. Classic horror before 1960, before Psycho, I will be talking about. And I already have it right here, ready to go. All I gotta do is just about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Comment me.